The Fantasy Football Show.
Hello everybody and welcome to Clash of the Correspondents, the weekly show from PlanetFPL, where we bring on two of our correspondents whose clubs are playing each other this week. My name's Suj.
My name's James.
And this week we've got a doozy, James.
A doozy?
You do like to pick them.
What's that in football terms?
A big one.
Well, when I was starting to organise the second set of fixtures for the correspondence, if you will, I did add a note to say, has anybody got any issues with any particular people they'd come on with or particular opponents? And everybody was all right about it. These two pulled the short straw, or probably Gary has pulled the short straw. He's my captain. We are joined today by Dan at FPL Loco Lord, our Liverpool correspondent. How are you, Dan?
Yeah, great chaps. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you're very welcome, mate. And we're joined by Gary at Is My Captain, our Manchester United correspondent. How are you, Gal?
I'm good, thanks. How are you all?
Yeah, good, mate, good. Gary, are you feeling a little bit more chirpy? Nice win at the weekend?
A bit chirpy, yeah. I think the last time I was on, we just beat Norwich as well. So if I can just come on every time we play Norwich, I'll be fine.
You'll be all right.
All right. Well, I was going to say I'd get that arranged next year, but I don't know if that's gonna work or not. We should probably point out, say we release this on Thursday, and they might have lost to Wolves in the FA Cup last night, in which case that will come across weird.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
there is a game in between.
We are pre-recording this just in case there's any injuries between Monday and Thursday. Dan, can I ask, mate, important question, and don't bullshit it, how many points are you going to win the league by?
No comment. I don't want to go there.
All the Liverpool fans are still saying this.
Why is there a fear, Dan?
I think it's just because, you know, the impossible is possible. I've recently written an article for you guys, and I mentioned it in there. We've done it on occasions, not so much over the course of a season, but in individual matches. You know, the Milan in Istanbul, Barca last year, where, you know, nobody expected us to turn around these 3-goal deficits, and we did. So anything is possible. You know what I mean? City could win every single game, and we could slip up. I can't see it happening, touch wood, but it could happen. So until it's mathematically done, we've won the league. I ain't conceding anything.
But I think we're all agreed that it's pretty
done.
much done and dusted from that point of view. It was funny. I was listening to the radio on Saturday morning. One of my favourite shows to listen to sometimes is Fighting Talk with Colin Murray on 5 Live at 11 o'clock. A bit of banter on that show, and he's a Liverpool fan. And they had a guest on. I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Jonathan Overend or something, who's a Manchester United fan. And Colin Murray was saying that now his biggest fear and the most annoying thing is that the only draw that you've had this season so far is against Manchester United. And you could go the entire season winning every other game, and Manchester United will still be that little stain on the record of the draw. And it being Manchester United was going to irritate him as a Liverpool fan. Gary, are you going to lord it over them if that happens?
If they win 37 and draw 1, I don't think they'll be too bothered.
No,
Mate, we won't be too bothered. I'll take a 5-0 drubbing at Anfield to United at the weekend, and as long as we win the league, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, that is an important thing, what Dan says there. He might not want to say, and it's understandable, I think, especially as we'll have the recording of it forever, that it's over, although it is over. But I think there isn't a great determination within Liverpool at the moment to go and chase these records and 100 points.
Let's just get the title.
I think if their mentality, I think very much will be, if they get to, say, Gameweek 32 and they beat City and that finishes it and they're still in the Champions League, they're going to rest players in the Premier League if they're still in the Champions League to try and win that. You're not going to go, oh, yeah, well, you know, there's that record. No, there's another trophy to go and win as well. So I don't think there's a great feeling within Liverpool. I think there was that year for Arsenal in 2004. It got to about March time and they started having quite a number of draws. You could tell it became quite important to them. I don't feel like it is yet to Liverpool. That said, I can't particularly see anybody beating you either, mate.
Well, I hope that's the case, but I really don't care if we lose 3, 4, 5. As long as we win the league, I don't really care.
Yeah,
I really
I've
don't.
said that. I think all the Liverpool fans, if I said to them now, like I said on the pod a few weeks ago, you'll be using a lot of toilet roll in the next couple of months. But if you win it by 1 point, you'll take it.
Yeah.
Hope
it doesn't happen.
No, he's not going to be that close.
Yeah.
Mate.
Dan, I was just going to say, would you prefer to win the treble or Invincible?
Oh,
treble.
Yeah, see, that's the mentality.
Trophies
I
in the
agree.
cabinet is definitely where it's at.
And I take it
definitely.
the kids will be lifting that FA Cup, will they? Or
And if we win the treble and Invincible, then that where's there to go after that?
oh, he's changed his tune, hasn't he?
Yeah. Gary, let's
Can you imagine though? You need something else to strive for next season, and you don't want to win it all like that. Or you do, but you worry about what will happen the season after. Complacency set in, and it's like I want us to just improve season on season now.
Well, one of the things I said to James in one of the shows is with the way the kids performed at Everton and just everything going around the club, even the way you've handled the transfer window, like getting the Minamoto deal done early and what have you. This is legacy building stuff that's going on at Liverpool. It's not like 1 season or 2 season flash in the pan that you see with Chelsea when they bring in new managers and spend a bit of money. This is like, let's get the infrastructure and the foundations there for 10 to 15 years of continued success. That's the most impressive part about it for me.
Yeah, no, Klopp's done brilliantly, and everyone in the back room to do that. It's the mentality throughout now, and it's showing through. Like I say, the Everton game, the kids come in, play exactly the same way, same high intensity, and it's just everyone's just buzzing. Everyone's got this confidence and the swagger, and they go into games not expecting to lose, and you can see it.
Gary, let's talk about Manchester United a little here, because probably up there as one of the most up and down this season in terms of clubs in the Premier League. 1 week you're looking really, really good, and then you'll lose a game that you'd expect to win, but you've still scored quite a lot of goals, and from an attacking point of view, there is some real talent there.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's with Martial, Rashford, Greenwood, James, that's all good, but the rest of it is, with Pogba being injured, there's not a lot happening. So, you just don't know what you're going to get from 1 week to the next. I think last time we were on, we'd beaten Norwich, and then we lost to Bournemouth, I think. So, it's just so inconsistent.
But if you look at the team, I mean, David De Gea, he's made mistakes, but he's not the worst keeper in the league. Harry Maguire's a very solid centre-back. McTominay and Fred, in games against Spurs, for example, really
Gary
dominated.
just said, is he? You're not impressed with Maguire, are you?
I'm not unimpressed with him, but he's not improved us massively, has he? And it was a lot of money that we spent on him, and he's not taken us that extra level defensively. I'm not talking about title level, but he's not even turned us. I don't know if we're any better off than we were last season. It's not all his fault, but he's not improved it,
I saw a really funny tweet, probably about 2 weeks ago now. Someone said it was, can Liverpool please play Southampton an extra 5 million because it's embarrassing having for Van Dijk, because it's embarrassing having Harry Maguire as the world's most expensive defender, just to level it out. But in the middle of the park, McTominay and Fred had a couple of really good games. I mean, they dominated Spurs and played particularly well. You've got pace in wide areas. There's just something missing. Is it Pogba?
Pogba is a miss because he's the one player we've got who can do a bit of everything in midfield. But and when he doesn't play, I think Solskjaer reverts to his only real planet, which is to counter-attack on everyone. And that's fine. It'll probably work on Sunday against Liverpool, and it's worked in other big matches, but it's made us struggle against the rest of the league. Pogba would be a help, but I'm not sure he fancies it anymore. I mean, he's not played enough football this season. It might be time to move on from him. I don't know.
Can I ask you, Gary, because I know you're very honest about things. Do you think you'll score on Sunday?
Do I think we'll score? Probably, yeah. Probably.
I mean, kind to agree, actually. I understand what Gary's saying there in terms of Solskjaer reverting to a type of what works with this counter-attacking system. And you can see them going with the three of Rashford, Martial, James. I think he might even mix that three up positionally a little bit, possibly at the weekend, just to try something a little bit different. But if you've got Rashford, Martial, Gary, you've got a start for you as an FPL manager at the weekend, haven't they? You can't leave them out, surely.
No, I think you've got to start them. I mean, you'd have to have some bench to, I don't know, you'd start ahead of them. I think if you've got Rashford, I think Rashford scored against every. I think he scored against every side in the top. He's got a goal or assist against every side in the top 10 this season, apart from Crystal Palace or something like that. He scored against Liverpool earlier in the season. If you've got Rashford, you play him. And I would hope, my hope would be that Solskjaer says to Rashford, Martial and Dan James, let Alexander-Arnold and Robertson go. Don't worry about them. You let them bomb on and just stay where you are and see if you can get them to come back with you. Because if he sells Rashford and Dan James to go to chase back all day, then we haven't got a chance. But if he says to him, you let them crack on and see if you can cause them problems the other way, we might nick something off him.
That's a brave strategy, isn't it? Really.
Well, that's how it'll go, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, it is a hit to nothing playing Liverpool, but that's a brave strategy, and if it backfires, then you end up.
Well, but if you think if you think our midfield three aren't going to be doing much either, it's not like if we play with McTominay. He'll play McTominay, Fred, Pereira, Lingard, or maybe none of them are going to be. They're all going to be doing a lot of defensive work anyway, so I wouldn't see a lot of a problem in just leaving one or two up, because what's the alternative? You send Rashford back into that left wing back role, and Dan James or Martial playing right wing back, and we'll just get pinned in, and it'll be chaos.
I think United.
So why not try and?
I think United will set up similar to how they did at the Etihad in terms of trying to break the game into essentially two parts, be it a defensive 6 and an attacking 4. I think this might even turn out to be a defensive 7 with a sort of a free midfield essentially. It probably depends on if he picks Lingard or not. Actually, Lingard played quite well at the Etihad in terms of his positioning between the lines.
Really
he did,
well,
mate. Yeah. He still didn't score or assist in 2019, but that's a different statistic.
No.
Off game a little bit, Gary. Can I ask you, because I think there is a little bit of an interest at the moment in Brandon Williams. Can you tell us a bit more about him?
Well, I mean, I think in fantasy terms, I think you could definitely slide him in at 4 million, even if he's just sat on your bench. Ashley Young looks hell bent on going to Inter Milan. Luke Shaw's injured again. I think you could definitely get him. I mean, you're not going to be worried about using up United spots, I don't think, just even if you bench him. So, yeah, I think he looks a hell of a player so far. He's only young, obviously. He's not played that much football, but he's, he looks a decent player from what I've seen, yeah.
Yeah, crowd like him, don't they? And it looks like he's got half a shot at knocking down that left-back position, I think.
If I was wildcarding now, I'd definitely be getting him in ahead of Rico or
Yeah,
Kelly,
I think he's worth a call.
As a budget defender, he's definitely
it's worth saying,
an
and
option.
we don't know now. By the time the pod goes out, he could be 4.1. But I spoke on the main pod about possibly waiting beyond this week, and even, go next week at 4.1. I think... Yeah, he's one to pick up. What I mentioned was if he didn't play this weekend, for example, you definitely look at that Burnley fixture and we say, look, Lundstrom playing City, for example, you can go, okay, yeah, not only buy him, but I'll stick him in the team as well as a possibility. Right, Dan, so...
Double game week around the corner.
Has anybody mentioned it? Possibly by chance.
Yeah, I've seen a few tweets.
So you don't have your triple captain chip up your sleeve at the moment?
No.
Big
I
deep
don't.
breath.
No.
Regrettable.
Yeah. No. Well, to be honest, I'd do it again.
No, good lad.
The time I used it.
Yeah.
The time I used it, I'd do it again. It just didn't work out.
No,
I don't have it.
Yeah. Do you have a strong opinion? Because it is obviously Trent, Robbo, Mane, Salah, Mala, I was going to say, or
I
Sane,
do that
or
all
whichever.
the time.
Do you have, as a fan, a strong opinion on which one you would use it for, considering that it's 2 away games, Wolves, which will be a tough game, West Ham, less so?
I think if I still had it, I probably wouldn't use it.
Oh, that's interesting. You'd save it for later in the season, do you think?
Yeah, I reckon so.
We don't.
I just
know
don't.
when
I
the
don't.
doubles
I
and
don't
stuff
see. I don't see a lot of points coming from these 2 games.
I'm not in disagreement with that particularly, but I think it is possible. I think, Dan, that Wolves, bar the game at City in game week 32, I think Wolves is the toughest game you've got left.
Yeah,
And I
tend to agree.
I think the way that they set up, they are as likely to turn you over as anybody. I'm not saying I particularly think they will, but I wouldn't be surprised if, we're sitting down next Friday morning after a 1-1 draw, or if Wolves have even nicked it. Don't worry, like Liverpool assets will get 5 or 6 at West Ham the following week. No, I'd said on the main pod they scored 3 goals in the corresponding 2 fixtures last season, and I'd probably expect a similar total. Liverpool aren't going mad at the moment. You mentioned in your article as well, Dan, and it's something we've picked up for quite a while, about the closer you get to the finish line, the more kind of security in the way you play there's going to be. Like, it was noticeable even on Saturday against us. Like, okay, we're going to set off, we're going to soak this up because we fancy ourselves not to concede. Now, I think if you went at us, you probably would have scored again once or twice. But there is a mentality at the moment in terms of, we won't concede, we're not going to lose. That's the priority, in spite of the fact that you're going to go and dominate, 65, 70% of the ball in the majority of these fixtures.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and like I say, I touched on it in the article I've done, that they're playing a little bit safe. They're not going gung ho. They're not going for the jugular. They're just trying to control games, knowing they're going to get 1 or 2 or 3 decent chances in the game, and thinking we're just not going to give them anything, whoever we're playing. And I'd be inclined, talking about the double game week, if I was to use it, I'd use it on one of the defenders, not Mane, not Salah.
Go with Trent, maybe, potentially.
Wow. Interesting.
I wouldn't use it, like I said before, but if I was to use it, I'll be captaining probably Trent in them 2, even though I own Mane.
That's big.
Very interesting coming from a Liverpool fan. Dan, on a separate kind of conversation, because we talk so much about Liverpool, everybody knows that the highlights. You yourself, this FPL season so far, looking at your last 8 or 9 game weeks, consistently scoring above 60. You've had a real rise up the ranks, topping the FPL Correspondence League, much in the same way that Liverpool are. And not only that, you've built yourself a little 30-point cushion there as well now, top 30k. Have you changed anything in the last few weeks, or what's kind of helped you be successful in the last few weeks?
I think taking a few little punts and timing them nicely. I got Rushford in earlier than most, and he's done well for me. I wanted to go different to other people with the Sterlings and things. That's why I got Jesus. Mm-hmm. And he did all right for me for a few weeks. I got Traore in over Jimenez before anybody started thinking about it. So it was just taking little punts, having pretty much the template team elsewhere, but instead of going for the popular Wolves pick or the popular City pick or the popular, whatever pick, I went Ali over Son at the time, and Son's getting his red cards, and Ali did well for me. So I got quite fortunate in that respect.
So it is sometimes so often 9, like even your team and my team, 8 of the starters are exactly the same. There's only 3 spots.
No, I was looking before we recorded. So Dan's started with 9 of the same 11 as me from the weekend and got 17 more points. Because he captained Rushford, and the 2 he's got that I haven't got, both got 6-pointers.
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes when we're looking for, we need a differential, you need the small little bits. Like quite often it is important to go with a chunk of that template and then just have your others doing well, not be carrying like people like Wilfred Zaha in your squad and stuff like that.
For a little bit too long.
Aaron Ramsdale, that's what's cost me. And the fact that, Dan took probably the braver call to captain Rashford this week. It's worked out this week. It's not always going to work out. Just with that in mind, Dan, who's your captain for this coming game week?
I haven't decided yet. I don't know who the bus captain's on.
I presume it's Rashford. Rashford away to Liverpool, isn't it?
No, it won't be Rashford.
Jamie Vardy away to Burnley potentially.
You see, what I'm contemplating at the moment, I might wildcard before the weekend and have a complete change-up. Even though I'm pretty happy with my squad, I just think it's time to move on and maybe look at City again.
From an attacking point of view, I couldn't agree more with that.
Do I sense a treble Liverpool defence in now?
No, I would want to keep Mane or Salah. I'm currently on Mane, but if I do wildcard, I'll probably move to Salah.
Yeah, you said that in your piece. What's the thinking behind that?
I just think he's just so greedy, isn't he? And he just wants to score every time he gets the ball, and he's looking a lot sharper the last 5 or 6 games. Obviously, this niggling injury he picked up at Leicester seems to be behind him now. Even though Mane is the form player, Salah's the one who's going to be getting you hat-tricks over Mane, definitely. He's more explosive if that's going to come.
Are you aware, Dan, of these stats in away games for Liverpool?
Regarding what, Salah and Mane?
Yeah. So
or Firmino.
Salah,
Firmino can't score at home, but he scores away.
So Firmino's got, I think it's 7 away from home. Salah's got 1.
No, I wasn't aware. But that wouldn't put me off.
Don't worry, I'll edit that out.
It wouldn't put me off, though. It really wouldn't.
I'm really going to keep that in.
Who are you captain this week, Gary?
What, this week coming up?
Yeah, this week coming up. Who's the armband on as it stands?
Well, I've left it on Aguero from last night as of now, but I'll have to see if he's definitely playing or you don't know what's going to go on with the... But
do you have a direct line to Pep, do you, to figure that one out? Because if you do, we'd all welcome that.
Sometimes get a clue. They haven't got a game in midweek. They'll have this go Salah, but that I don't want to captain someone against. Yeah, probably just leave on Aguero.
I'm not a fan of captaining players against your own team either. It's not nice, but given that double game week.
No, and I don't think Salah's ever scored against us, so it doesn't look an obvious move.
He's got to break his duck sometime, but yeah, it is an interesting stat.
Well, there is that, yeah.
But if he's coming up against Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire on that side,
so
maybe...
Probably a good...
I think you might go with Brandon Williams.
Well,
Gary, you're playing some good tunes there, fam.
So we lost you there, Gary, just for a second.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's
yeah.
better. Yeah, you were saying as far as...
I think it will be Williams again, so...
That perhaps makes Salah more attractive on that side.
No, I don't think so necessarily.
The
way Luke Shaw defended against Pepe, give the kid a chance.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the best way to go, isn't it? Nothing to lose, play without fear.
Yeah. The crowd will be on side. I mean, it is at Anfield, but the away fans will be supporting him.
Dan,
sure.
what do you think formation-wise at the moment? Because we have seen the odd game with Salah back in central periods, and Klopp did this at sort of a similar time last season as well. Do you think there's anything in that?
No, interestingly, someone messaged me today on Twitter and asked me the same question. And I think it just switches during games. He's switching it up during games. It's not like Liverpool are playing a 4-2-3-1 and that's the formation. It's a 4-3-3, but then sometimes Salah comes in and Firmino will drop deeper. And the question I had today was, would it change if Fabinho come back? Is that the reason they've changed it? But I don't think that's the case. I think it's more change to going with the two, dwelling on what we said before of just tightening up a little bit more and not going for the jugular.
My theory is it's something more on Salah in terms of I think possibly playing a lot of games back to back over a winter period.
I don't know.
Because it was basically, you played Wolves just before Christmas last year, and that was the one where it was after the Bournemouth where he'd scored the hat-trick, and a lot of people were going, oh, wow, and now he is right back through the middle again. And then it lasted a few more weeks, and then it changed again back to very much a 4-3-3. I disagree with you slightly, Dan, in terms of I think there have been times where you've played 4-2-3-1 and Firmino's played as more of an orthodox 10 rather than dropping in, and you've seen sort of a Lallana or a Milner push out to sort of an inside right position just to give a bit of balance. I do think there's possibly something in what you said about having a two together of Henderson plus Wijnaldum or another is, two together in a double pivot, bit more protection than just Firmino with two outside.
Yeah, what I've noticed a little bit more as well, tactically, last couple of games is Henderson's been dropping into one of the fullback slots and basically making a three centre halves, more so on Trent's side, and Trent's hugging the touchline but not bombing on like he usually does, but Robertson still is. And I don't know if that's a little bit of a tactic to protect Trent a little bit more defensively.
It's probably more when you're playing with a back four and you've obviously got the two fullbacks as you had. There's probably particular games where he wants to get the fullbacks very high. It was something when we were having at Spurs a successful period of 4-2-3-1 that Eric Dyer would do that when he started playing holding midfield, which allowed Walker and Rose to get quite high. It's not something Spurs do often anymore. One of the things I noticed from the game at the weekend was how much more advanced positionally Robertson gets than Alexander-Arnold, which I found particularly surprising because obviously Aurier played in a more advanced position basically to track Robertson's runs. But I think it's partly because Trent can be such a threat from so much deeper.
Away. He can hit a 50-yard ball or a 60-yard ball.
And quite often, you know, if there's people looking in the next week or so and thinking, I want to go for one and I don't know which one, like, I would suggest with those two, don't go looking at like touch maps.
No.
I mean, you know what I'd say? I'd just say get them both.
Yeah, I mean, we've always advocated the double Liverpool defence. One of the things we always do on the show, just to get a feel for what the correspondents think, is to get a prediction on the game. Go on, Dan, start us off. What do you think this score is going to be this weekend? Not what you want it to be, what you think it's going to be.
It's a tough one to call. It'll be tight. We're not going to blow them away, that's for sure. United won't let that happen. I think 1-0 or 2-1.
1-0, which is just a single goal in it.
Yeah, 1-0 or 2-1. It'll be tight.
Gary, what's your thoughts? What do you think the score is going to be?
I'll go Liverpool 3-1.
3-1, to a couple more goals in it for Liverpool. I think I'm with Dan here. I think that once they get the lead, they're going to do what they did. You used the word safe earlier. I prefer the word controlled in terms of the performance. They'll just control the game and move the ball around, and then it'll be hard for United to get a glove on them. If Liverpool attack more, then that gives United more options to get in behind on the counter. But I don't see that happening much the same way against Spurs. They didn't really go for it, and as a result, you can't get in behind them.
I think 2-0 or 2-1 Liverpool. I wouldn't be surprised if United go in front.
And then Liverpool come back.
The difference with, United were excellent in that league game at the Etihad, and kept doing City on the counter-attack over and over. The major difference, I think, to City and this Liverpool, if United get ahead, is Liverpool will come at you in so many different ways. In terms of balls into the box, and you've only got to be out of position once, and someone will kill you. If you look at, the Henderson, I'm thinking the goal Henderson scored against Spurs, where Liverpool should have won that game 4 or 5-1, but we had a great chance with Son to make it 2-0 on the night. But they just came at us relentlessly in that league game back in October time. And that's what Liverpool do. And Liverpool haven't had to play like that for a while because they keep going ahead, right? But I think if United will feel if they're going to get something out of the game, they'll want to spring on Liverpool in behind early in the game.
It'll be very, very interesting watch on Sunday. There we go. Clash of the correspondents. Both pretty civilised.
Pleasure. Didn't kill each other.
Yeah, we've been good. James, what have we got left for the listeners this week?
Final plan tomorrow.
Yes, both of us have keepers that are out, so we'll be running through our final transfers before the week. Dan, Gary, thank you so much for all of the help for the FPL community about your respective clubs, the articles that you're writing for the website, the interaction on Twitter, everything we get. I think everybody that listens to the pod and interacts on Twitter is really grateful for everything you guys do. So thank you very much for that.
No, you're welcome.
Thanks.
Thanks, gents. Good luck. Good luck this weekend.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for listening, tuning into Clash of the Correspondents. As James said, final plan at you tomorrow. Saturday deadline this week, so no worrying about Friday night deadlines. And we'll be making our final calls. We'll see if there's been any injuries in the FA Cup replays, which are in the future, but in the past.
Exactly.
There we go. Ciao for now.
Cue music, man, child.
The Fantasy Football Show.